So now that we got the frame all cleaned off from the brackets that we don't need, we're going to install our ladder bar brackets. So this will go here. We'll have an outrigger that comes out, and that's what we'll land our roll bar on. Even though this is the rear end that we're not using, it has the same tube diameter. So we can mock it up with this until we get our new 4.9-inch, and I can get all this stuff set up. But I'm going to make a new one of these on the plasma table right now for a little upgrade. So when you get your ladder bars, you will have 4 of the same brackets for the axle. So I made this bracket that has this little addition to it. This will go on the inside, a tube will weld to it, and it'll go across to the center of the 4.9-inch that we're getting. This will help support the ladder bar, and also you'll have a tube that you can tie the car down with. Okay, we're back. So I completely spaced my spacers and had to cut some of these out. So these are made out of 20 gauge material, so roughly about 30,000. And if you were to take the 2 axle brackets, bolt them on tight, get them on the rear end, burn it in with your welder, later, potentially it's going to be really hard to get that ladder bar in there. So I put 1 spacer on there, then tighten these down. And so then later when it's assembly time after painting all that stuff, the ladder bar can just slide right in there and it'll tighten down. It'll make servicing the part a lot easier. And I do that for most of the suspension components. So we have our frame outriggers cut so we can put them on the frame. And we're, again, working kind of backwards. We have the rear end located, and we hook the ladder bar to it, and then line up the holes on our ladder bar brackets, and then it will also locate into this part. Also, we made our upper coilover bracket. So we have a 55 over there that I did all this to, so I'm basically just duplicating everything on it and applying it to this car. Okay, so we were working on the firewall earlier, and the bottom of the firewall, right where the rockers roll into it, we did extensive amount of work. It was pretty rotten, but we got all that stuff cut out and patched in. And I got the inner ladder bar brackets tacked in here. Also our outrigger. So our outrigger serves as 2 purposes. We're going to cap that off. The roll bar, the main hoop, is going to connect to here, plus the outer ladder bar bracket will be flagged on here, and then we'll get it all boxed in so it's a real strong part of the car. So I realize not everybody is able to do this without the body on there. I'm lucky that I have this lift, and I also have that 55 outside that I just did this to. So I've been pulling all the measurements off and building stuff like the upper coilover crossmember. So I built that, and I got the outer tab welded on there, and these tabs right here I get from Speedway. And I realize I have a machine and I can just cut those, but sometimes it's just gooder that they're on the wall and they're just done. So these have a 1/2 inch hole in them. Speedway sells a bunch of different brackets, but I've utilized these for years on my gassers and my hot rod projects. And every time I make an order, I just throw a couple bags in the cart and I have them on the wall. And I don't got to mess with the machine or anything and stop what I'm doing. So I just grab a couple of these tabs. So I'm going to adjust the camera so I can show you how I'm going to do this. Okay, so someday I'm just going to make a thick piece of DOM that is the correct size because I do this all the time and I have no excuse why I haven't done it. But let's say you didn't do this all the time and you just wanted to have a little bit easier time making this. So bolt goes in here, your coil over, our 30 thousandths washer. That's really smooth. And inner bracket, the shank. I don't know if you can see that, but the shank is sticking out. Did that on purpose so that way we're not in a thread part and this sits wonky or whatever. The spacer and this is to make it to where when this is all said and done and it's painted and you're underneath the car, the coilover just slides in there and you don't fight with the stupid thing. So anyway, throw a couple washers on there and snug this up, and then we're gonna take the welder and we'll tack this. We'll cover the coilover with gloves, tack this, take it off there, burn it in, and be good to go. But it would be nice to just have a spacer in there to hold it true and everything, which I'm sure by the, I don't know, couple weeks I'll have that done. I've been saying that for years, but I'm going to do it this time. So let's get this thing tacked in there, and then we're going to locate this thing up inside the frame and get that tacked in. Yes. Okay, tech tip number 31, just tack stuff. Don't have to weld anything together just yet. Ugh. I would assume my body is going to go on a couple times, so I don't have the rear end here 99.3% positive that where I'm going to place this is going to be the right position. However, I've been wrong about a few things in my life. So we're just going to tack this. And yeah, it's going to tack this because I don't want to hold it anymore. And then we'll get it square. Oh, also tack it where you can get to it with a zip wheel. Okay, I like that. Now, that's really weird. Not gonna lie. I just threw that in there. Perfectly square. I have a feeling not correct on that, but we're just tacking. So if it's wrong, I can move it. Not a big deal. What I want to do is get the rear end that we are going to be using in there, and I'll hang the shocks and get my alignment on where the lower coilover brackets are going to go, and then we can double check everything before we burn everything in. because this is just our mock-up. So hopefully we get that in soon and get all this stuff done before I need to put the body back on here. We have a couple more rust issues we got to attend to. And, the quarter panel. There's one boogered up quarter panel, so I'm going to address that. I mean, it's not a big deal, but... Okay, so check out our coilover. It just slides right in there. Bolt slides right in. Isn't that nice? Wouldn't that be fun to do under the car? So, we got this tacked in. And before we can move on, we need to get the Quick Performance Ford 9-inch swapped out with this one, so that way we can make the lower coilover mount. And we're going to have to make our own because it's going to have a back brace on there. So it's going to be shaped a little bit differently than the ones you can buy. So we're kind of done back here for a while, but we can get the this situation all burned in and then put our outer ladder bar bracket on there and get it all boxed. Then we will have to, I'd like to get the rear end in here first, but I'll have to see when it's showing up. I'm sure the body's going to come on and off a couple times. We do need to address that quarter panel, but if you noticed, that and the rear are the only cross members on this whole frame. We just added this one, which is going to help, but in order to do the Gasser front subframe, we have to have the body on there. The body acts as a jig, which we are only going to have half the body mounts because they were just, nobody put them on, or they're rotten when they did the floors. So we're going to make our own. So there is all the body mounts, but we're also going to put a full cage in here, and it's going to be connected to the body. So it'll make it super solid. But that'll be after probably 2/3 of the frame is all done and welded. The Quick Performance Ford 9-inch is in there, and it's painted. So, because as soon as the body goes on and the cage goes in it, at least, it's not going to come off. So that'll be down the road a little bit, but it will make it to where it's not going to move. We can put the subframe on there, get everything squared, and know it's going to be like perfect. The gas tank did just show up, so we're going to be modifying the factory gas tank. And the reason why I chose that is because the 56, well, all Tri-5 Chevys have like a different way of filling the car. And in the 56, it's in the taillight. It opens up and flips down, which is super cool. So I'm going to retain that, but we have to put a fuel injection pump in the tank, which I know you can buy them, but they're in the front of the tank. And this is going to be raced, and fuel slosh is going to go to the back. We need to have the pump in the back. So we're going to build a little plate, and we're going to put 2 Aeromotive fuel injection pumps back there. So no matter if we're running carburetor or fuel injection, we should be good for well over 1,000 horsepower. And I think that's all. So that's all for today. We're going to make a list tonight and figure out what else we can do before we put the body on there. And yeah, leave a comment on things like if you want to see these for sale. I don't know. Maybe these aren't a good idea, but I use them all the time. So I can't imagine other people not needing them. So let us know about that. And again, styling critiques. Let us know what's cool, what's not, what you'd like to see. If it's something crazy and wild and we ended up doing it, maybe we'll make a t-shirt out of it. If it was your idea, we'll send you a t-shirt.